Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. I know the background has changed. It might be a little echoey in here because I am getting ready to move and there's just not a lot in this room anymore. But I want to just say thank you for all the messages, the posts, the various carrier pigeons. I think somebody even did some smoke signals. Where are you, Susan? Well, this is what's happening, right? I'm getting ready to move and there's a lot of things going on. I'm pretty busy with my members. I do have an online community, a free online community, and I also have a premium paid online community for 12 bucks a month. And I've got a lot of things going on. And you can find out about my class that's upcoming and my memberships all on my website, susanlynnmedium.com. So let's dive into a little bit about what's happening right now. And I just, you know me, guys, I'm going to be straight with you. This is a shite show. This is the belly of the beast. The spirit guides just keep saying you're in the belly of the beast. This is what they've been saying. This is midnight. This is the darkest that it's going to get before, very gradually, the light will come up. Now, I just need to adjust your expectations a little bit here because I'm going to hold your hand while I say this. We're not going to go back to the way it was in October of 2024. You know, does that mean we're never going to have hope again? No. It just means that we're going to arrive at our new destination in a new way. If you think about type of any type of generational difference, right? If you lived in the 50s, you experienced a different thing than you lived in the 60s or you lived in the 80s. Change is constant. So the first thing I want you guys to understand is this is a big change. Obviously, this is a big change. And I understand that change is very scary for a lot of us. Number two, it's not change we wanted. We liked our old system. We liked our laws. We liked our Constitution. Okay, that's also true. These things are under attack, and the spirit guides are saying they will fail. I'm just going to be honest with you. Our Constitution is failing. Obviously, the courts are not following the Constitution. The president is not following the Constitution. It is a failed state, the spirit guides are saying. Again, I'm keeping it real with you guys, right? We are in a dark time. That does not mean the sun is never going to rise. It doesn't mean that, but it does mean when the sun does rise, and in this way, they might be saying when people wake up and they see what they allowed to happen in their darkest desires became real. So, the guides are saying we all have laws, right? We don't go robbing people because there's laws, Maybe there's some people that would, like if there was nothing stopping me, maybe I would do that thing. But I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to prison. So there's consequences. So what's happened right now is the consequences for humans acting on their darkest, ugliest, hateful desires are gone. We have gotten a free pass. If you want to be racist, you can. If you want to be classist, you can. You want to be anything, you can. Do you, boo? Be as evil as you want to be, right? That's where we are right now. And it's almost like there's no consequences. This is exactly where we are. And as that filters down from the executive branch, which is setting the tone, the leader sets the tone. As that filters down, you're going to see in your own personal life, in your own city, your own town, in your own homeowners association, in your own police force, whatever it is that you are interacting with, you're going to see the people who really needed those laws, who really needed that structure to keep them from being abysmal, to keep them from being crooks, thieves, uh, power hungry, egotistical maniacs, you're going to see them start to flex their muscle. Now, this is an important message for you because believe them when they show you who they are. And I'm sorry to say that the guides have said this all last year. 2025 is a change year. It's a 9. It's a completion year. And I'm sorry, but some people in your life, some job situations, bosses, maybe even, I'm sorry to say, your spouse or whomever, they might take this opportunity to really flex those hate filled muscles and just be beyond the pale, beyond belief, right? And I want you to trust who they say they are because as the sun comes up and we start to wake up to this and we start to see the horrors, perhaps even within some of our own selves, then we're going to be looking to scurry. We're going to scurry either towards the light or we're going to scurry towards the dark. And those people that are scurrying around, well, those are the people that are looking for cover, aren't they? They're either going to try to become, oh, I never did that. I never said that. I didn't understand. I wasn't my normal self. They're going to try to rewrite their identity. Don't let them. I'm not saying don't forgive them. Okay, so here I am arguing with my spirit guides. I mean, honestly, sometimes they don't really understand what it's like to be human. Okay, I'm just saying there is a disconnect. We cannot be, I don't think humans are equipped with our everything that we are right now, with our thought processes, with our ability to understand complicated concepts, whatever it is. We're just not them. So what I was saying was believe them because as a human that's connected to the psychic hotline, I can tell you because I'm looking down the road, folks, and we're going to come out of this. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But as I look down the road, if we don't learn this lesson, if we don't really take these people to task, then they're going to come back. They're simply going to scurry into the darkness, wait for another opportunity, and come back. And here's the scariest part they learn from every time they do this. They get better at it because they learn, oh, when we did this thing with 45, people would go this far, but we couldn't get them to go further. So we need to work more on our messaging, on our hidden messaging. We need to do a better job of making them, brain addled. Okay. They're learning from this. And if we aren't learning from this, if we just say, oh, the 1960s civil rights era was just, thank God that's over. Well, hello, a whole portion of our population didn't win jack from that, right? Like, so we have to understand as a human, as humanity, that we've got to do better. We've got to stand with each other. This is the lesson. The lesson is we're all together. Okay. So, and I think we're sort of learning this lesson. I wouldn't say we're getting enough, but I would say that we're starting to learn the lesson on a deeper level than we did in the 1960s or even in the 1970s with the whole, wake up, the earth is, crashing and burning. Okay. So that's the lesson. And I just want you to be aware that this energy is likely to settle down into your personal life. And I want to give you a forewarned is forearmed message. If you've always thought this person was slightly untrustworthy or slightly unsavory or had some weird views that you didn't agree with, that might get bigger. The energy might get bigger in your life. And you might need to make some decisions about what position this person plays in your life. Okay. And I think the reason the guides are saying that is because now is not the time to make radical decisions because you're not on firm ground right now. Everything is shifting and moving. So it's like if you wanted to make a jump, think about making a jump from something that gives way when you start to, you know, stand up or whatever. Even if you just try to stand up, if the ground is moving, you're going to fall down. So this isn't the time to make complete radical decisions, but I do want you to sort of keep score. This person makes me feel tired. This person makes me feel energized. This person makes me angry. Keep score. Become aware so that when the time comes and you have an opportunity to make a choice from firm footing, you know who is who and what is what. Wake up now. Just look around and be very realistic about what's happening in your life. Okay, now that also means to not spin out. Yes, I know that people are getting deported. I probably shouldn't say that word. Um, Mysteriously, the guides are saying, meaning not of law and order. And I know that's horrible. And I know that that is the first step. It's not even the first step. They're on the 55th step, right? I get where we're going with this. And it is horrifying. And I am also scared, but it doesn't help. It just doesn't help to get on social media and say, we're screwed. It's all over. The dictatorship is here because that is not true. You're spinning out and you need to ground yourself and you need to get real. This is important, you guys. Spinning out is not going to help anybody. Get real. And also the guides woke me up this morning. By the way, this is 5:30 in the mornings. This is the only time I have to do this video. They woke me up this morning saying, look, you make your own decisions. I am not the gospel. I am not a guru. This is advice. The guides woke me up saying people are spending too much money on on preparing for whatever it is that people are preparing for. No food, no water. Okay, I get it. I think you should have 3 to 5 days of food. But if you're spending all of your extra resources on having months and months and months of food, please understand the spirit guides think that that's overkill. If you if the United States of America gets to a place where there's no food for more than 2 weeks, you've got much bigger problems than food. Okay? And those that money resources that you're spending on that are going to be more important. Okay? So they want to caution you about overspending on food that you're just buying because of prepping. It's not about food. If we get to a point where there's no food for 2 weeks, you're going to be looking at probably either moving in with other people for safety or even leaving your area. You're going to need cash. You're going to need resources. You're not going to need 6 months of food. None of us live in a fortress that you can defend. Okay? If you what they just said was this bully energy trickling down. We've talked a lot about the bullies in our lives, haven't we? So think about it. If there's no food for 2 weeks, that probably means there's no electricity. How are you getting your water? How are you flushing your toilet? There's bigger problems here. Those of us that have lived through a lot of natural disasters that have been without electricity for 30 days, we get it. I don't know how many of you guys have ever lived through a situation like that, but I have several times. So and food was available because we shared with each other or we took care of each other, which is the lesson here. It's the whole reason we're going through this is to learn how to take care of each other. So if you've got 6 months of food stored, you could bring in a family or you could bring in other people. to live with you and feed them, and perhaps they could bring something that you need. This is the lesson. Until we learn the lesson, the test will be provided again and again and again. Okay. So, right now, the guides are saying if you've got a good amount of food, stop buying food. That's not going to be helpful right now. You really want to have a little bit of extra cash. If you don't have any cash, spirit guides have been saying go to food pantries right now and don't spend money on groceries. Eat off of a food pantry. Take that $25. If this is what you're doing, if you're living on Social Security where you don't have any extra money, then you've got to manufacture some money. You've got to make some money somewhere. One way to do it is to not buy groceries and to get your money, get your food from a food bank. Another way is the guides have been talking about this all last year. Now we know why. If you've got a room to rent out, you might want to think about it. If you've got a basement, you might want to think about renting that out. If you've got a garage, you might want to think about renting that out. If you've got extra land, you might want to think about offering people to put their boats there. People are going to be looking for ways to save money. Now, you need to check your insurance. You need to check your homeowners association. You need to do your due diligence. This is just advice. However, you can make a little extra cash would be a really good idea right now. Okay. Now, what does that mean about the economy? Well, right now you see that the stock market is literally having convulsions. And the spirit guides told you this is not going to upset the wealthy people because they already pulled their money out. And if they haven't, they're controlling the strings anyway, and they'll buy things on sale. We've already mentioned that. As a matter of fact, the stock market was spoofed when some kind of fake message went out, and the whole stock market believed it and crashed and then came back up again, which underscores how frightened investors are that they're keyed up and they're overreacting. This was the whole first message of this video, right? Don't overreact. Be steady. Take notes. Take notes. What neighbors can you trust? What neighbors do you think, if you needed to borrow something, could you go talk to? Make a plan. Don't freak out. Freaking out is not going to say, it's not going to help you. It's just not. So when you start to get worried, I want you to get busy. Take a walk in your neighborhood. Just relax. The other thing is your spirit guides are trying to help you. I see it all around me. Spirit guides are guiding people. And people are saying, I don't know why these things are coming in my life right now because this is not the direction I was going. I thought I was going in this direction. But these opportunities are coming into my life from a past direction. Does that mean my spirit guides want me to go in that direction? Yes. If you have opportunities for money coming into your life, it could be temporary. Your spirit guides could be saying, look, this is what we can get you right now. This is how we can help you right now. So pay attention to everything. Don't wholesale say, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going this direction because the ground is soft. Everything is falling apart. If the spirit guides throw you an opportunity, consider it. How do you know if the spirit guides are throwing you an opportunity? It's out of left field. It may not be the direction you're going, but it's money or it's a resource. Just pause and consider it. I was gone this weekend at a conference in Houston. Did I have time? No, I did not have time. It's the last thing I wanted to do. To be honest with you, it was the very last thing I wanted to do because I don't have time. When I agreed to go to the conference, it was months ago. Things were very different. But my spirit guides kept saying, Susan, you have to go. This is important. Do I have free will? Yes. Was I getting ready to ghost my spirit guides? Yes. Was I getting ready to cancel? Yes. I thought, this is dumb from a human perspective. I've got so much to do. and I can't take 2.5 days out. This is incredibly the wrong thing to do. Yet my spirit guides kept saying, steady, just be steady, just be steady, don't overreact, just go. Now, I know the reason why I was supposed to go there. I made 3 contacts. That was important, probably going to be important in some big way in my life down the road. And I also know that if I, as a human, because I've done this before, said, no, I'm not going to do this. This is silly. I'm not wasting my time. It would have taken them perhaps up to years to get those same contacts in a room with me again. I know this because I've lived it. So take some deep breaths. Try your best to ground yourself. You can look up on the internet, find your best way. Everybody's way is different. Take a walk because your spirit guides they've not abandoned you. They're here with you. But the advice is going to seem out of left field or different. Just consider it. Don't jump on anybody's bandwagon. Don't do anything rush or haste. Just consider it. Now, let's talk about Justice Roberts, who just delayed the court order that would have returned this gentleman who was, I'm trying to look for the right words, who was exited the country basically illegally. Now, Justice Roberts didn't say, I agree with this, but he did delay it. He said, no, I'm not going to say one way or another, which, come on, in and of itself is a ruling, is it not? This is constitutional. There's no reason for a delay. So the people who are on social media saying it was delayed, he didn't say no. Come on, people. Basically, he's trying to buy time to get some more cover. The guides are saying he needs more support because he doesn't have it. Um, okay, so this is bad. The spirit guides are saying this is a dark turn of events. Justice Roberts, in my opinion, has made a decision that he cannot. Okay, I want to say he cannot walk back. But the guides corrected me and said, he will walk it back. They will all walk it back. This is why I spent some time trying to explain to you that these people are who they say they are. Don't believe them when they turn around and say, oh, come on, that little thing where I made that ruling or that little thing where I voted that way or what, come on, cut me some slack. No, we're not going to cut you any slack. We're going to believe you. Believe Justice Roberts because he has crossed a line that he cannot uncross without some sort of punishment. The spirit guides are saying he's crossed a line, an ethical line. We all know what they think of ethics, but he's besmirched his reputation. There they go with that word again. Remember last year they were using that word all the time, besmirched. He's besmirched his reputation. So when you're in the Supreme Court, when you're in these kind of big positions, you think about your legacy. You think about a law school being named after you. You think about, you know, just being this historical figure that your great grandkids will read about you. That's over for Justice Roberts. He has now thrown his hat completely without any hesitation. He's thrown his hat in with the wrong side. That's what the spirit guides are saying. Last week they were giving him he had a free will. He could choose. This week, I believe he's chosen. Now I'm going to tell you, he's waffling. He's going to pretend like I was just doing my scholarly due diligence. He's going to pretend like that. You guys, the truth of the matter, energetically, in my opinion, he has gone completely to the dark side. He will try to remake his identity, as many of them will when they need to, but he has gone to the dark side. And it is my complete and total hope and fervent prayer that the Democrats hold these people's feet to the fire and don't let them simply whitewash, sane wash their actions. That also counts for you in your personal life. You guys, this is not just energy that's playing out in the United States, in the powerful positions. This energy's run amok. It's all around the world, and it's in your hometown and possibly in your house. It's you can't just be freaking out about the president if you're living with a Trumper. It's, okay, it's all connected. So let me tell you, I think that it's going to get worse. I don't know how that's going to manifest, but there's so many options that at their disposal that they could make this all worse, including famous people or legal figures or journalists being arrested. uh, it's all about control. That's why they were told to bring this guy back. They don't want to bring him back because that would mean that they made a mistake. And 45 never makes a mistake. If he makes a mistake, he rides that all the way through, because to keep the cult believing that you're all powerful, you have to continue being the emperor with no clothes, even though you have no clothes. You can't ever say, oh goodness, I don't have my boxers on, right? You can't say that. You have to keep the crazy going. And that's why they cannot admit that this is a mistake. And I, pray for this gentleman, pray for everybody that is in harm's way is the best way to do it. If you want, and I suggest that you do, pray for everyone that's in harm's way. Don't fixate on one person. Send your prayers to everyone. That's the way to do this. And then let it go. You've done your work. Okay. Now, how do we get through this? When does the sun come up, right? When is the sun going to come up? I feel like the sun coming up is painful, because with the sunlight we see the destruction, we see the truth, we see the scurrying, we see the reality. And that's why this video is important, because I need to tell you that I did a post on social media, and this is, and with my members, and this is really what's going to happen. Okay, think about think about your house being robbed. Again, they keep using this. If you've watched me for a long time, this is the same analogy, but different circumstances. In this situation, the house is being robbed. You run out the door. They're inside ransacking everything, and they're taking things, and they're in the house, the people's house, right? Think about it. This would be our government in general. You're outside. You're not in your house. This is we're not in a democracy. Our democracy is the house. The house has been taken over. We're outside looking in, going, will there be anything left? Will I ever be able to get back in my house? Will it be the same? No, it's not going to be the same, but yes, you are going to get back in your house. When you come back in your house, this is us waking up, coming back into control of our government. Well, guess what? Things are ransacked. Things are broken. In the haste to steal what was valuable, they broke valuable things that had no value to them, but it had value to you. So you walk in your house, your valuables are broken. Your house feels like it's been attacked, or you don't feel safe in your house. Assaulted. Your house has been assaulted. You've been assaulted. Your innocence has been assaulted because you believed in the house with all your might. Regardless of what was happening, you knew the house was going to be there. Now the house, you walk in and it doesn't even look the same, because things are broken and strewn about, and you don't even know where to begin. Where do you begin? What do you pick up? Is it even worth it? You know what I mean? Like you have this, at this some point you go, is this even worth it? I don't even know what this place is. Everything that made it my home is either missing or broken. That's where we're headed. I need to prepare you for this, because if you've been through a house fire, if you've been through a time when your house was flooded or when your house was hit by a tornado or your house was even broken into. You realize that this is the same feeling, and you also know you built a new house, you got new things, you moved on. Sometimes your house is missing, but you moved on. I need you guys to understand we're going to move on. We're going to make a new house. We're going to put new things in it. This is why it's so important for you and I and the Democrats to not allow the thieves back in the house, to be very aware. This person is complicit. Even if they are a dim, you're complicit. Maybe you're back in my house, but I'm never taking my eyes off of you. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to work hard. Even if I'm not in your district, I'm going to work hard to replace you because I have a memory. I know who you are. You can try and sane wash your reputation, but we remember who you are. This is the key. We're going to rebuild. We're going to start new, but we need to be very careful about how we begin that process and who we allow to make the new rules. Because if you let the crooks in, they're going to make the loopholes in the same way that we got here now. Okay. So, what I would say to you is we might end up with a new constitution. Is that crazy? Yeah. If I would have told you this last year, you would have said that I'm absolutely crazy. I'm telling you now in April of 2025, and you're probably thinking that's possible. That's really possible because we know. I mean, I know, you know, I hope you know, but the spirit guides know this cannot continue. This dark night of America's soul cannot continue forever. The sun will come up. When the sun comes up, that's our opportunity to get busy. That's our opportunity to say, I saw things, I experienced things, and I'm ready to get involved in my community to make sure it doesn't happen again. I'm ready to get involved in my state voting, whatever it is, to make sure that we have guardrails because we've seen what happens when the guardrails get knocked over. Unfortunately, people just allow their most horrible base desires to run amok. And we need more guardrails, not less. So I can see that we could have, you know, a new constitution. Now, what would require that, right? Like, how could we get there? Well, I'll have to tell you, it's going to have to get pretty bad for the rest of America to wake up a little bit more and say, wait a minute, this is not, I don't want this. And I know that a lot of you still see these MAGAs running around with their flags, but I'm telling you, in my little red spot, I see one maybe once a month. Most of those have gone underground, and they're going to go further underground as they realize that their retirement is being reduced, that their Medicare, Medicaid is being attacked, that their Social Security is on life support. They're going to start waking up, and they're going to have their own like just freak out. They're going to crash out. Because if you believe in the Messiah and all of a sudden the Messiah is a devil, that's a pretty bizarre mind F. That's a pretty heavy mind slap. How do you make sense? Nothing in your life makes sense anymore. So they're doing it on the right, we're doing it on the left. Everybody's having this moment of this can't be happening. This is not reality. This is not my country. Okay, that's where we are now, and that's where we're going to be probably for another, I hate to say it, but 3 months. But I mean, it could be 3 years, right? I mean, think about it like that. I think within 3 months, this is April, May, June, July. My last video, I told you guys I see him fleeing the White House and creating a White House someplace else. Now, when he does that, that does leave, the guys are saying, a procedural door open for a new government to come in, because it's almost like he's fleeing or he's abdicating the role of president. 25th Amendment. But this can only happen when people like John Roberts say, uh-oh, I don't have the cover anymore. I thought I was protected by this darkness, but the sun is coming up and I don't have cover anymore. I've got to switch. I've got to become, the Chief Justice of the whole United States and not the Chief Justice of DJT. So for that to happen, we have to go through some more things. We have to have some more wake up calls. They're not pretty, not fun, but that's what needs to happen. And that's why I want you guys during this time to really modulate your energy. Don't crash out. It's not the end of democracy. It's the end of our old democracy and the beginning of a potentially amazing democracy. You want universal health care? We can get it. We can have these things, but we have to keep our eye on the ball, which is new, creating new, not crying over the old. Let's stop crying over the old. Let's just stop. It's that freaking Constitution is outdated, completely outdated. We need to be focused on the future. What do you want to see the future to be? Because it's us. There's millions and millions and millions of us. And we have more power than they do. We just don't know it. They've convinced us that the emperor's wearing clothes when he's not. We can control this. We can control the outcome. But it's not through fear. It's not through agony. It's through forward future thinking. It's through looking at your neighbor and saying, man, my healthcare bills are so high. I bet we could have universal health care if the billionaires would just pay their taxes. Change the narrative. Start talking about the future that you want, because we are going to create it. And when we get that opportunity, we can squander it. We can have low self-esteem as Americans and say, well, we got to put up with these Republicans because we're a democracy. No, we don't. We don't have to put up with them. The majority wins. We don't have to make a deal with the devil anymore. That's how we got here. So think about the future. Think about what do I want? And then think about the laws and the guardrails that would be in place to protect you. You want consumer rights? Then we need people like Elizabeth Warren, right? We can get this, but we all have to be active towards the future. Just know that these energies that are controlling or activated amongst these dark individuals, they feed off of fear. So the more fearful, the more spun out you are, the more agony you're living in, the more power you're giving them. Find your joy, find little opportunities of joy. Kids right now are going out and playing every day. Dogs and cats are enjoying their day. They're not worried about next week. They're worried about the next 5 minutes. Be like them, and you'll get through this so much easier because we just have to get through it and get on the other side so we can then be healthy enough mentally and physically to actually be participants in the new governing of our country. The last thing I'll say is that the guides are saying this is an errant timeline. We're not supposed to be on this timeline. There was a timeline available, obviously, where 45 could be president, but that timeline looked more like the timeline of his first presidency. It didn't look like this. And the reason that it's so bad is because these people realize that they're in your house robbing you blind, and they realize they only have so much time. If they knew this was theirs forever, they wouldn't be acting so quickly or so rashly. They're acting quickly and rashly because they know there's a ticking clock and they've got to get as much as they can before they're thrown out, arrested, or they flee. So that's why this is happening so quickly. They know they need to act very quickly to do as much damage as they can. And if they can stun the American people into obeyance, obeyance, or whatever it is, then all the better, right? So the guides want to say the energy is just out of control. It's out of the boundaries of the timeline. Think of a flood where the river goes out of the banks and it's just going to flood until the rain stops. And then it'll get back in its banks and then we repair. These are all the same analogies, right? And then the last thing, I just want to say this because they told me this before I started this video, and I'm not a religious person. I didn't grow up with religion, but they want to talk about Jonah and the whale. So you guys can look up Jonah and the whale on Google. You'll probably leave me comments, which is great. You'll explain it in the comments. Jonah and the whale. That's what they want to say. Okay. Take really good care of yourself. Again, I'm in the middle of moving and things are chaotic in my life. I am okay. Thank you for checking on me. I really appreciate it. I will be back with another video, hopefully this week. I'm going to try my best to be back with another video this week. I'm really busy again with my members tonight and tomorrow night. So that takes up a lot of my time. I do have the free membership, Lighthouse Keepers Crew. If you want to join a place where you can just be safe, it's my platform. It's not Meta, Facebook, or Instagram, or YouTube. It's not any of those things. It's literally my network. You can join that for free. You can learn everything about anything that I'm doing on my website, SusanLynnMedium.com. Take really good care. Try not to spin out. Take care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only.